Have you ever found yourself lying awake in the middle of the night, your mind swarming with hundreds of overwhelming questions? You start your day with determination, but then a single heavy message, a harsh comment, or a due bill is enough to pull you deep into the cold, dark ocean of fear. If you feel like you are drowning in the storm of daily anxiety, the story that took place on the Sea of Galilee 2,000 years ago is not just an ancient story in a book. It is a precise reflection of what is happening inside your mind right now. Let us travel back in time to a storm-swept night on the Sea of Galilee. It was around 3 o'clock in the morning, the darkest hour when solitude feels most heavy. The disciples were struggling aboard a small wooden boat. Waves as high as liquid walls hammered against the sides, and the headwinds roared relentlessly. Exhausted, drained, and terrified, they believed their lives were coming to an end. Then, through the blinding rain, a figure appeared. It was not a rescue boat, nor a natural phenomenon. Someone was walking peacefully on top of the churning water. At first, panic struck them because they thought it was a ghost. But immediately, a warm and gentle voice echoed across the fierce waves saying, "Take courage. It is I. Do not be afraid." In that very second, Peter, an impulsive student yet filled with a longing for faith, made a bold request. "Lord, if it is you, tell me to come to you on the water." And the reply was a single word, "Come." Imagine this scene in the magical style of an ancient tale. Peter lifted one leg over the side of the boat. His foot touched the rough waves, but the water was no longer liquid. It became as solid as marble beneath his feet. He stepped out with his second foot. A mortal man of flesh and bone was truly walking on top of a raging storm. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. All physical laws were broken. What was the secret? During those first steps, Peter's eyes were fixed on a single focus, the warm, loving light waiting for him ahead. But then, what happened next? A powerful detail is recorded. When Peter saw the wind was strong, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out. Pay close attention to this detail. That powerful wind was already blowing before Peter ever stepped out of the boat. The wind was just as strong, and the waves were just as high from the very beginning. The environment around him had not changed by a single millimeter. The only thing that changed was Peter's focus. Instead of looking at the one calling him, he allowed his eyes to glance at the terrifying waves beside him. He began listening to the roaring wind. And the moment his mind shifted from trust to threat, the gravity of fear pulled him down into the deep water. Does this picture look familiar to you? If you find this story meaningful and comforting to your heart, please subscribe to the channel so we can walk together on this journey toward inner peace. Modern psychological research points out that the human mind has a natural mechanism called the negativity bias. We naturally tend to obsess over risks, threats, and the worst potential scenarios. When you face a challenge, whether it is the fear of losing a job, a broken relationship, or a health issue, you are just like Peter stepping off the safety of the boat. In those first steps, you are full of hope. But when you start looking at the wind, spending hours scrolling through negative news, imagining endless disaster scenarios, calculating risks far beyond your control, you begin to sink. Anxiety does not come from the existence of the storm. Anxiety comes when we allow the storm to take center stage in our minds. Peter did not sink because the water was too deep, nor because the waves were too high. He sank because he forgot who was standing right in front of him. As his body began sinking into the freezing water, Peter did not deliver a long, formal speech. Nor did he try to rely on his own strength to swim back up. He simply uttered 4 of the shortest yet most powerful words. "Lord, save me." And it is recorded that immediately a hand reached out, caught him, and lifted him out of the deep water. There was no waiting until Peter swam back to shore on his own. There was no scolding while he was drowning. The hand lifted him up first, And only then came the gentle question, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" The word doubt in ancient Greek means standing at a crossroads or having two minds. Peter did not sink because he completely lost faith, but because his mind was divided in two, one half trusting the one who called him, and the other half terrified of the storm before his eyes. When the two of them stepped into the boat, the wind died down completely. The storm did not vanish while Peter was struggling in the water, but it stopped the moment he returned to safety. Watching up to this point, you have surely discovered an unexpected lesson for yourself. The storm of anxiety in your life may not disappear tonight. The debt might still be there. The illness might still need treatment. And the challenge might not be over yet. However, you can completely choose how you face it. Today, try practicing this simple, quiet exercise. Whenever you feel a wave of anxiety starting to drag you down, pause for 60 seconds. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I looking at the wind, or am I looking at peace? Say a short prayer just like Peter did. Please guide me and keep me safe through this storm. When you shift your mind's focus from the threat to the loving presence beside you, you will realize that you possess enough strength to walk over the rough waters of life. You are never alone in the storm, and there is always a hand ready to catch you whenever you call out.